This is Todd Clark, the Executive Director of TIVA, Television Internet Video Association. We are coming to you live from the video show, formerly called the GV Expo, right here at the DC Convention Center. And this has been going on, I think, for at least 10 years or so, but this is the first year it is under the umbrella, the name, the video show. So it's a wonderful day, 2 days of manufacturers, producers, content providers, software, hardware. You got cameras and editing and graphics and captioning and all kinds of stuff, and a huge schedule of panels that are going on all around me. So the applause means something's just happened across the hall. So if you can, make it down. We've got a couple more hours left. But the main thing we're doing here today is we're talking to the movers and shakers, and this is Parshell Tashi, who is a former math teacher. Yep. That's much I know. Who is now doing some stuff in media and video. So let's talk a little bit about that. So you just did a panel, maybe we could begin there, that had a broad topic title of specialization. So what did you talk about?
I actually talked about how as video professionals we have the opportunity to be the fun teacher, right? We can take any subject matter and make it come to life. And the more that you're interested in a particular field, the easier it is to learn and to be that known industry and go-to expert in there to bring our skill set and what we know how to do and make that subject matter come to life for that space.
So how did you go from A squared plus B squared equals C squared to a creative storyteller? I don't get that.
Well, I was always interested in media and graphics. Back in middle school, I attended church. That's part of my background and upbringing. And so came around time for the summertime vacation Bible school and different picnics they would do at the church. And they had a flyer that they wanted us to hand out to some of the people in the community. And this particular flyer I thought was the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. If you guys remember word art back in the day where you had like the 3D text and all of that to build a flyer, it just irked my soul. And so that's what got me on the computer to learn how to utilize skills, graphics, and really build something that I felt could make it better. Because I really wanted people to come, and I didn't think that the word art would get them to come. So
Clip Art will not be sponsoring your booth next year. Okay, but anyway, but yeah. So there was actually a trigger event, which you solved a problem that other people didn't think existed.
Yeah, absolutely.
In some ways, right?
Yeah, essentially. And then it just kind of grew from there in terms of I just really was able to identify how video in particular really was about emotion and really how to bring together images and pull together a story that could emotionally draw people in and even possibly bring them to action, right? To come to the church, to come to the event, to spend money, whatever the case is. That just became a joy of mine to really bring the emotional factor into that world.
So I have a feeling it's your spiritual path is the bridge between the right and left side of your brain. I'm not trying to be too weird, but you know what I'm saying?
I haven't heard it explained that way.
But really I think it kind of makes sense. Yeah. I mean, because a person who has been dealing in numbers, I don't know if that's the left or right side of the brain. I know there's a book drawing on the right side of the brain. Yeah. So maybe the right side is your So you were in that quadrant of the head for a number of years, but then there was a way for you to then sort of transition to more of a sympathetic, storytelling, inspirational content creator.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what bridges everything together, really, is that connectedness. Somebody can look differently than I do or have a different background or story, but we all have points of connectedness. Yep. And I think that is in the matter of the things that we can't see, which lends itself to that spiritual conversation in the way that we can really bring and come together. Right.
So talk a little bit about some of the projects that you've been involved with, that you've spearheaded, that you've been passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. So over the years, I've done a number of projects where we would help an organization or a company get a video onto their website. Yep. So some of the schools that or organizations we helped were Salvation Army. We helped Verizon with a number of events that they had going on. Spectrum. Also partnered with the School of Wharton, did business there with them, and I don't know, just so many different businesses, small and large, but a lot of experience in different industries for sure.
So what are some of the consistent things between those projects? And I'm going to guess, because I'm involved in the same kind of work, is that if it's authentic and passionate and somehow hooks you, I hate to use the industry term, there's a hook, but the people have to feel like they can jump in or latch on somehow, right?
Yeah, I mean, the least favorite type of work that we did is where somebody had to read from a teleprompter. Now, unless they were really, really good at that, it would be a magical experience. But
I'm a
more
good
times than not.
teleprompter reader, but
Okay,
you have to sort of ignore it as you both ignore it and then you rely on it at the same
Sure.
time.
I mean,
Right.
but you, of course, have been doing it for a number of years,
Yeah,
and
so
you got comfortable with it.
and trust too. You have to trust it.
Yes.
Your operator is your partner.
Yes.
And that person, male, female, whatever, is following you. You're not following them. Once you realize that, then you go, okay, well.
Yeah, and that's exactly the way that I learned it. We did a lot of teleprompting for the School of Wharton for the MBA students, and then also did the same thing even for live concerts and events where somebody needed a confidence monitor. We would feed them their information or certain live events. So, but taking a step back from that, when it came to working with some of the small business owners and CEOs, the teleprompter wasn't the thing that I felt really brought that emotion. And so it really had to, I think in the format and the way that we presented our work was around the stories and around the emotion of what they're doing and how it's important.
Well, I think it's interesting that we're talking somewhat about a piece of technology, the teleprompter, but it's also, I think, a literal window into what makes a project or production successful. So I've had the same experience where someone has almost demanded the teleprompter, and about 4 or 5 tries through it, they say, let's just move that aside. And I've been waiting for them to say that, because they can say, yeah, just tell us from the heart what you want us to know. I mean, yeah, there are bullet points you may need to remember, and 50% of our students, or whatever the stat is, but that'll come, and we can add that later, we can lower third. But I'd rather you take a deep breath, pause for a moment, and think about through that camera, is someone eager and interested, you have their attention, make those all your assumptions, and then just talk to us, right? So I agree, but it's the microcosm of what the discussion of the teleprompter gets down to essential storytelling. Because removing it isn't going to be a disaster. In fact, it may open up people to an ability to be more communicative.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And it takes time to get to that space. I mean, as people start to get into their groove and start talking, and eventually they get there. And my favorite part of that process is when you know that they forgot that the cameras are on. That's the key, man. It's just like, all right, now we're grooving.
There's got to be a German phrase for it, like Schwaudendauer, whatever it is. There's got to be some kind of not caring about the technology in front of me moment, right? But you're right, absolutely right, because all of a sudden there's a flow and there's an earnestness and a realness that happens, and you're like, you better be recording that. We better get that on tape, and we better be in focus or whatever is working, because you know that golden moment has occurred.
Oh, yeah.
And in some respects, everything we do as producers or directors is to get to that moment, to prepare for that aha, whatever you want to call it, our German phrase of moment in the sun.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to explore more of that skill set for myself, how I can do that. And I'm finding that the more I can get to know the person, not just the business, right? Get to know the person, why they're doing what they're doing.
Exactly.
Really helps that to shine, and they go to another place, and then the good stuff comes out.
Exactly. So what's up? What's next for you? What's on your plate, or what are you working on?
Yeah, I'm excited to actually dive into working with those who are in the life coaching industry.
Oh, yeah.
And experts and those in that field. Because again, about that space, there's something about somebody who's decided to utilize their time to help other people in that way. And there's something special I want to tap into to see how I can spread that message even further for some of those people who are doing it and doing it really well.
Cool.
So I'm starting my own video series called The Call to Coach. And
Call to Coach, okay.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump into that and really hear, right, what people are doing and how they got into this area of coaching. Because I think it's very unique, and the more people can express that story, that's where the differentiation comes in.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people who are claiming to be a life coach, and so many popping up. But I do think it's an important industry that's booming and coming about. And so the more I can do that, I can show that they're different.
Cool. So we have about 30 seconds left.
Sure.
So give me your URLs and how do people find you? And
yeah, sure. ParcelTashi.com is where people can find me and learn more information. And the Call to Coach podcast will be posted there as well for people to check out. And yeah, that's me.
Excellent.
Thank
All right,
you,
I'm glad you came by. We have a couple more hours left down here at the video show, so come by and check out. Parcel will be walking around.
Yeah, I'm here.
Here to answer some questions. We'll be back with a couple more interviews in just a few minutes. Thanks.
Cool.